Hello friends, welcome back to another Value Vintage Cards video. So today I'm going to share our recent pickups. So they all were delivered just a day or two ago, and kind of ironic. I was just on a video, a Mount Rushmore episode, and we were chatting, I think before and after a little bit about kind of what we like to share. And I said I usually like to share things like Mount Rushmores, where it's kind of evergreen. It'll always be somewhat relevant. Your top left-handed pitchers, top third baseman, things like that. That'll probably be a valid list until somebody comes along and challenges being on that Mount Rushmore. So it'll have some sustainability. Next year it'll be the same list most likely. And recent pickup kind of videos, things like that are a little more in the moment, and I tend to not gravitate towards that. But here I am sharing exactly that. So there's always exceptions. There's always room for new ideas and different ways to do things. So just wanted to share this. This was something that I had delivered. It's from COMC. So with COMC, one of the really nice features is you can really treat it like your online card shop. So if you don't have a good LCS, consider COMC an option. So what I like to use that for, I don't necessarily shop for all my big cards, the rare exotic stuff, but when you see things that are a few bucks, something where shipping would kill it and make it no longer a great deal, or something you wouldn't want to buy online, go directly to COMC instead of staying maybe on eBay or something like that, and prepay a little bit, put in your 25 bucks, 50 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever makes sense. And then you can card it, and you can basically let them keep it. So you let it build up, and eventually you can say, okay, send me that lot. So that's exactly what I did. So these are not all recent pickups. I wouldn't necessarily say it's something I've all bought in the last month. Some of these I've been purchasing for the last several months, and it's just taken this time to finally say, all right, there's enough there and it's time, and I'm gonna request the shipping. The one thing that I think is interesting is you have to prepay. So if you put 100 bucks on and you buy a card for 90, you still have 10. You can't request that back, at least that's the best of my understanding. So you got to go out and find some $10 stuff. So I do find myself spending, once you get down to that final like $2, you kind of start doing some math and saying like, yeah, it's a fair deal for 35 cents. It's a card I would never buy anywhere except maybe a card show or a local card shop. There's no reason to try and buy a 30-cent, 50-cent dollar card on eBay, because you're going to pay as much for shipping as you do for the card. So I do like, the idea of being able to pick those up and still have them delivered to your house. But it is still, it's a little bit of a challenge when you get into the aspect of having that little bit of money left over. Right now I have exactly 1 penny stuck on COMC, which they might just get to keep. I don't know how I'll ever get to use that. So I suppose when I fund the next one, I'll worry about it, and I'll probably always have a nickel or dime just floating out there in balance, but that's all right. So sorry, that's just my thoughts on COMC and some creative ways to make some pickups. So let me get share in here and show you what I picked up. So it's 23 total cards. So I'll go as fast as I can. That makes sense. First thing, you guys know, just had a video with this gentleman, Three Finger Brown, Mordecai. This is a 1974 Laughlin. So again, you're going to notice a lot of these are not the exotic, fun, big cards. These are that's cool to have in the collection, $1, $2 kind of stuff. So I did not have that, and if it's Three Finger Brown, I try to get it. This next one is a that was tough to say, Hoosier Hot Stove All Stars. So another Mordecai, kind of cool. So it's an all Indiana issue, and since he's from Indiana, it's kind of neat. If you, I don't know where his hometown's from, there it is. It's got a star on it, so relatively close to Indianapolis. Nice mid-state location. Next up, got a beer issue. It's old style, but another Mordecai. Some of these I get just because the image, you talk about like $1. It's basically like a cheap picture. That one has a cool write-up on the back though. So you do see a lot of these 70s, 80s. I feel like they did a lot of honoring of the older players, which I always love those sets growing up because you get a chance to learn about a player you would have never seen play for sure. We didn't have internet, so I needed the card to do research. All right. 1959. For everything that Bob Gibson is for Pepto, Kurt Flood is for Baby Blue. And that thing, one of the nice things of COMC is they do a pretty solid job of giving you the ability to zoom in and get a nice image of the card. You don't always maybe get exactly what you thought. Sometimes it's a little bit more dinged because it's still, not three-dimensional, or sometimes it's a little bit nicer than you expected. But for the most part, you know what you're getting into with their site. So it's another nice benefit. Nolan Ryan, this is a 75 Hostess. I love these, Hostess, Kellogg's, all these different issues from the 70s and some went into the 80s. Kind of fun. Neat image of Nolan, though. Just bring that back. That front image, I don't want to collect every single year of those necessarily. So if I'm going to have to cherry pick and only have a couple, I want to pick the ones that I think look the coolest, the best image. 85, this is one that was probably a 30 center or something like that, 35 cents. So 85 Tops is fine and fun, but 85 O-Pee-Chee of Dale. You'll notice if you watch my channel, I'm an O-Pee-Chee fan for sure. So there's the back. It's a little bit brighter, shinier. It says O-Pee-Chee kind of right above his batting average. So easy to identify from front and back that it is a Canadian issue. Next up, we have the 1971 Stargell. But it's not just any 1971 Stargell. It's the O-Pee-Chee. So you've got the English and the French on there, which I like because it kind of retains the US Tops feel, and it gives you that Canadian, impression or whatnot. So you take a look at that. That's the same write-up you would see in English, and then you get the exact same thing. So had I paid better attention in French class or taken that more seriously, maybe I could read a little bit of that, but bonjour is about where it leaves me. So not as good. Mother's Cookies. Another regional issue. If you want to know what a great baseball uniform and a classic baseball player looks like, 70s through early 80s Oakland is a home run. Rickey Henderson looks about as baseball player as it gets. So I am a decent collector of Rickey. So super excellent. That is the 85, I believe. No, that's 84. I lied. That's the 85. I knew I had both. So cool color variations. Either way, those are awesome Henderson cards. So back gives you a little bit of stats on that one. So neat breakdown. All right, jumping. This one might be hedging a little bit on Hall of Fame opportunity, but I've really expanded. I'm not just a Hall of Fame player collector. I'm also a Hall of Very Good. So if you notice it, I got my Murphy. I got anybody else? Kurt Flood currently is still Hall of Very Good. And this guy is currently Hall of Very Good with Hall of Fame potential. But his impact, his longevity, and even the teams that he played for, I figured I need to add a few more of his to the boxes. But that's a cool card. And again, you're talking on most of these $2, $3, $5. They're nothing expensive. 65 Tops Tommy John. And we just did that Mount Rushmore 50s and 60s. That 65 looks pretty fantastic. That flag, the logo, everything else on it is really nice. Back is clean, sharp. Nothing lacking on that card. That's a solid 65 Tops. The next year, I didn't have that one either, so I thought I would do the 66 as well. It's another good image. I like that. Another back that's solid and clean. So good Tommy. 67's high number, and 68 I had. In fact, I believe I might have the O-Pee-Chee 68 and the Venezuelan of Tommy John. I'll have to pull that and double check. But I do some players full runs, other players I just grab, a few cards or 10 cards or whatever out of their entire career. So 69 I thought was another good one. Figured I'd scoop up a bunch of him when he's with the White Sox, because that's not a huge part of his career, but back then especially, cool jerseys, neat cards, in that classic vintage range. So we'll take it. Next up, what was I thinking? I snagged two 1970s. Oops. No, not really. Not oops. Just kidding. It's either nice thing you can take a look at your cart and make sure you don't make a mistake. They are different. So we have Topps. Nice, easy, everything familiar, everything English. And then we have O-Pee-Chee. So crazy thing with that, and neat thing with that, is you do get other side English and French versions there. So when you take a look at the back of that, if you're trying to learn French, collecting O-Pee-Chee cards would be a great way to go about that. The other thing you'll notice on these for a differentiator is the printed in. So you do get USA and Canada. So just some of the differences, some of the fun stuff to see side by side. The Topps and the O-Pee-Chee on the front are, other than maybe condition, I think they look pretty much the exact same. This one, I love these. These are always fun. So it's 79. Take a look by my finger there. That's an O-Pee-Chee logo. So the other thing that's neat is Topps will have like traded, or they'll have updates, different types of things. I like this because they just have to note on the front, signed as a free agent on the date, and then really look at the details of that card. I love stuff like this. So he's in a Dodgers uniform and it says Yankees, and then they just put the date he was signed on the front of the card. So for me, that's fun. That's the kind of stuff I look for. All right, next up, this one's from 2019, apparently. I didn't even know what year it was when I bought it, because I don't care. I didn't buy it for the year, or for the set, or for the anything. I bought it for the chance. Hey, play on words. It's a Frank Chance, but it's a relic. I tend to, once I dive in a little bit deeper on a player and decide that it's somebody I want to collect a little more seriously, from these vintage eras, if it's really somebody I'm kind of taking seriously for my collection, I will add in and do a relic if I can find it, if it's realistic. I think most of the players I collect fairly seriously, I have a relic card for. Tinker Evers Chance, obviously the famous combination. Tinker and Evers had a multi-year beef, and we're not very good friends. Chance was eventually manager, a little more of a leader, and actually a really good fighter, apparently. So if you dive into his story, he's really interesting, and he still has some records for first baseman that have never been broken, at least on the single season status. So worth checking out. Interesting guy. Next up, we'll go Tony Gwynn. Had a Tony Gwynn rookie. Decided to update my Tony Gwynn rookie because, take a look, it's yet another O-Pee-Chee. Love the position. So gives that in a couple different ways. Back of the card, nice and bright, nice and clean. So I'll probably never grade that. it takes a lot for me and want to grade a card. So it looks clean, looks nice. I can appreciate it. I'm good to go. Next is a set I've been working on. So Hall of Fame Run is the game plan. This is one that I did not have and had to check off the list, obviously. Great classic image. The Lloyd Weiner card, I feel like, carries value just because it's cool. Like it's not his career. He sells for more than players that were probably a little bit more significant career than he had. But that image is awesome. The back is fully readable. It's just been highlighted and had somebody wrote some numbers on it. But oh well. For what I'm doing, for what I collect, I can look at that. I can enjoy that, and to some degree, that's what a card that's 90 years old should look like. So I'm good with that. All right. Next up, we will go 1909 Ogden. So interesting set. I've shown on my channel Mike Tyson and Andre the Giant. I have actually, which way do I got to go? For my shoulder right there, got a couple of wrestling figures, Stone Cold Steve Austin. So I do collect some wrestling cards. Grew up, WWF was huge, and it's kind of, I would say that's like men's soap opera is wrestling. So never minded that. College, we get together and gather and watch some things. So like any other good hobbyist, you have to know your history, know your background, and while some of the current wrestlers are MMA crossovers or amateur backgrounds, back in the day, some of these guys were legit tough guys, and they would just travel around and offer somebody like 3 minutes in the ring, we'll give you money if you can stay, or we'll guarantee we'll pin your guy or make him submit or whatever. So they had to be legit tough guys. Those weren't necessarily staged events. Those were, you'll show how tough this guy is, and then you'll pay tickets to go see him tomorrow night. So this was one of the original tough guys. If you do research and say who is, the toughest wrestler, not on screen, but, in a bar in the back alley, Frank Gotch might be on that list. So cool background, cool write-up. And because it's not baseball, it tends to be pretty affordable. Not a huge thing. Obviously it's 1909 and it's in decent shape. So it wasn't, $2 or $5, but not crazy expensive either. So fun edition. Next up is a 1951 shoe tag. I thought that was neat. Tossing in some Joe DiMaggio. Obviously, whoever took that off wasn't the most careful. Wish they were, but it's pretty neat. I was expecting blank back when I first saw the fronts of these, and getting on the back, you can tell 349 home runs, and he's definitely at the tail end of his career. 329, so that dipped just a little bit, but it gives us some career highlights and things. So I thought that was a cool Joe, something different, something you don't see every day to add to the collection. All right, 3 more. They're all big cards, and I use big in a literal sense. So John Mangini showed a really cool Smokey Bear set of the Padres that had a very early Tony Gwynn. I think it was like an 84 set maybe. And so that got me thinking, what else did Smokey Bear do? He doesn't like forest fires anywhere, right? So I found a 1987, pretty sure this thing is, with Harold Baines. How cool is that? So I enjoy that. And again, $1 or $2. So it's just fun. Nothing serious, nothing crazy. But cool clean back, fun image, something different. For size comparison, you find a normal size that everyone will know. There's your 83 Topps OPG size card. So pretty big. I feel like it's slightly bigger than postcard size even. So it's an oversized, but I like those. That gives you something to display and something that's more visible from far away. So I enjoy that. Next up, I think this is an R311. I should have double checked again. Almost positive that's what it is. but when you can double down, some of us love those combo cards, and I'm in that group. And when you get, old black and whites and actual pictures and images and all the stuff, it's a combination, and their cubs and everything about that is just perfect. That just hits exactly right. So cool image. You can see the signatures there. So it's Gabby and Kai Kai. So Gabby Hartnett, Kai Kai Kyler, two Hall of Famers. What a great affordable way. If you're doing like Hall of Fame runs, if you're doing just wanting some cool, affordable, pre-war stuff, I love that image. I think when you get in close and see, the detail of everything involved with that picture, looks like empty stadium. Maybe they're taking batting practice. I don't know, but just really neat image. And again, those are among the most affordable things. So I should stop saying that because I don't want other people to bid on it. But no, like sincerely, like that's a great addition. That's artwork component, Hall of Famers, all the good stuff. And the last one, only I'm showing because it's the most bulky, 1927 exhibits. Again, cool image factor. So get that thing like front and center. Epirixie. It's my first Epirixie. So if I want to show you my entire Epirixie run, here it is. I'll have to work on that. So 1927 exhibit. Beckett gave it a 1.5. Oh well. I think it presents perfectly fine. It's a blank back. These are gold mines when you can find the back is the thing that has like a crease or indent or something that doesn't show on the front. But this thing looks pretty solid to me. I love the image. His hat, sweater, smile. He's an interesting character in history. So check out Epirixie if you're not as familiar. But that's it. So 23 cards. Beauty of it is you pay for shipping once. So if you have that all shipped, it's $7-8. You spread that across 23 cards. Now you're not paying on a per card basis. I could put a few bucks into Epirixie and a couple bucks into my combo card with Hartnett and Kyler, and buck here, buck there. It makes your Dale Murphy that was 30 some cents might be 1 cent shipping. So now all of a sudden it's basically like going to your LCS. So I can deal with that size pickup and having it be a tank of gas there and back. So super fair. Definitely check out COMC. Hopefully maybe I showed you something there that was a different twist on things too, because it's 23 fun cards to the collection. But that's what I wanted to share. I will catch up with y'all later on the next one. Have a good day.